Hello, friends, and welcome to another amazing video of Wisdom Zone. And I'm quite sure you have already guessed it because today I have the sixth part of Develop Your Spoken English and become more fluent and proficient in your communication. So, it is my earnest request watch this video till the end and do not skip it at all because today I'm going to discuss some important techniques so that you can develop your overall spoken English. And again, it's my request if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon so that you can turn on the notification and you can get further notification of this type of informative videos. So without further ado, let's get started. So welcome back, friends, and I hope you see today we have a very useful discussion because today we have the sixth session of Develop Your Spoken English and become more fluent and proficient in spoken English, right? So, without further ado, let's get started. And before I go ahead, let me also quickly remind all the viewers and especially the new viewers that I have also provided the links of the previous parts of Develop Your Spoken English in the description. So it is my earnest request, do not forget to check those videos because you'll get a lot of information from those videos because in the previous parts I have discussed some important things like how to describe someone's appearance, how to use the simple present tense and the present continuous tense to practice. And I have also shown that how to narrate a story using past tense, time modes, and what are the elements of storytelling that I have also discussed in the previous part, right? So please check the previous videos. The links are given in the description, right? So without wasting any more time, let's get started with today's discussion. As you see, today what we are going to do is that we are going to focus on a very important thing, that is how to describe past incidents confidently, right? That's the first thing which we are going to learn, and I'm quite sure you are quite eager to know that because it is the most confusing thing. Because when you're talking about past, most of the time you commit mistakes, you somehow make grammatical mistakes. So today I'm going to address that so that you can speak confidently and fluently about past incidents, okay? And I'm going to show you what sort of tense you should use and how you are going to use them so that you can speak confidently without hesitation, right? So let me go ahead and show you that the two important things which you have to first is the use of the past tense, simple past tense, and then you have to focus on the use of the past continuous tense, right? If you want to describe past incidents confidently, there are two important things which you have to focus on. That is, first the use of the simple past tense, and second is the use of the past continuous tense, right? We quite often use these two tense to talk about the past incidents, right? So let me tell you, the most important thing is to know how to use the simple past tense, because when you're talking about past, the verb should change, right? So we use the past form, okay, and you convert the base form into past, right? So a common example is that he called me yesterday, right? So I'm changing the tense here, call becomes called, right? So again, I can elaborate. He called me yesterday and I spoke to him for an hour. So again, I'm changing. So I'm again talking about the incidents in a sequence, right? That he called me yesterday. I spoke to him for an hour. Okay, that's the way you can describe. So the another important thing is to note is that it's not always possible to use only the simple past tense to describe some action or activity that is going on in the past, right? It is not possible to describe the continuity of some action in past only by using the simple past tense, right? So that time, in order to describe the continuity, we have to use the past continuous tense, right? So let me show you how we can use past continuous tense while narrating about past incidents. So let me give you two situations. As you see, the first one, the first example is given. Sam was beating his brother when his mother entered the room. So here you see that one action was going on. Sam was beating his brother when his mother entered the room, right? That means beating is in continuous, right? Because this action was going on, and Then the second action happened, that his mother entered the room. So in order to talk about the continuity, that something was in progress and the thing happened, I'm using past continuous here. Okay, and here I'm using when, because the first action which was going on was interrupted by the second action, that is Sam's mother entered the room, right? So that's the way you can use past continuous when you see that some action which was going on in past and was interrupted by another one, and you join with when. So let's move to the next example. As you see, the next example is, yes, Kelly was going to her college while someone was stalking her. So this is a very important sentence. See the sentence carefully. See here, Kelly was going to her school. Going, that means it was in past. The past continuous is used over here. Okay. Here I'm using while because the other action was also going on at the same time in the past. Okay, simultaneously. So here I'm using while to join and talking about two actions. So in this type of situation where we have to talk about two actions which were going on at the same time in past, that time also we have to use past continuous and we have to use while to join, right? So Kelly was going to her college while someone was stalking her or following her. So I hope you understood how to use past continuous tense and the simple past tense to talk about past incidents, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can describe a particular incident. Don't worry about that. Before that, let me quickly also show you another important aspect. We are also going to discuss about irregular verbs because there are some commonly confused irregular verbs in English, right? Which we often use and we get confused. As you see on your screen, we learn the correct use of some commonly mistaken irregular verbs, right? So you must be wondering what exactly is an irregular verb. So let me tell you, irregular verbs are verbs that do not take on the regular ed spelling patterns, okay, of the simple past or the past participle. Understood? That means we cannot change the verb, an irregular verb, from present to past by just adding ed. We cannot just add ed to the suffix and change it to past, right? Say for example, I'm giving you a particular example of a regular verb. You can take the example of called. If I want to change it to past, I will add ed. It becomes past. That call, he called, right? Similarly, we can use some other words also where we add ed, okay, like borrow, and we can change it to past, borrowed. But in case of regular verbs where we cannot use ed to form the past, right? So take the example of this word wake. So we don't add ed, right? The past of wake is not waked, it's oak, right? Similarly, the second one is on your screen, eat. Eat, we don't add ed. So it is the present, the past is ate. And the third is where. So the past of where is or. Understood? And similarly, fourth is sleep. The past is slept. So these are some very important and commonly mistaken irregular verbs. You can see few more given on your screen. Okay, we are going to try and use these commonly mistaken irregular verbs and practice today. Up next, we are going to go ahead and see how you can describe a particular incident confidently. So in order to do that, you have to think about, so don't worry, I'm going to give you a very simple situation which you can use to practice. So you can just take simple topics, simple situations to talk about past incidents that happened, right? And you have to use the simple past and the past continuous and try to use the irregular verbs, okay, more often so that you do not forget, because you have to remember the irregular verbs. Okay, it's all about memorizing them, isn't that? There is no such rule. Understood? So you have to remember the important and commonly mistaken irregular verbs. You have to totally be well versed with it, right? So we will try to use some of them today. So let me give you a very simple situation. Okay, so situation is that you have to describe what did you do yesterday. So you can take up this situation, what did you do yesterday. So I'm going to show you that how to describe. So I'm going to show you that what did I do yesterday, obviously, right? So we should start like this way. At first, you talk about the morning I woke up early in the morning. So see, at first I'm using an irregular verb. Wake is the irregular verb I am using. So past of wake is woke. I woke up early in the morning at 7 a.m. After that, I had breakfast at 8 a.m. Got ready for office, and I left for office at 9 a.m. Get, and the past of get is gone, which is irregular. I got ready for office and I left. So again, I'm using irregular verb leave, and the past of leave is left. Okay, and I reached office at 10 a.m. and I started working. So here I'm using past continuous. That I took lunch break at 12:30 p.m. Again, past form of take is took. It is an irregular verb, right? Now I'm going to show you how we can use past continuous, right? So see the next sentence. I was having lunch when suddenly my friend called me. I picked call and started speaking. So here see I'm using past continuous. I was having lunch. My friend called me. Okay. So that's the way you can use it. So after that, you can continue. I spoke to my friend for 10 minutes and then I resumed work, and I continued my office work up to 5 p.m. And after that, I came back to home. Okay. So again, I'm using past come, another irregular verb. The past of come is came. I came back to home at 6 p.m. Right? So like this way you have to continue. Understood? I'm quite sure it's quite simple now how you have to use irregular verbs. So here today I have shown you how to use some important irregular verbs, and you can select some more irregular verbs from the list I have given, right? As you see on your screen, and let me show the list again. I have used some of them like wake, sleep, eat. These are used already. So you can use some of the irregular verbs from here and also try to talk about what did you do yesterday. Okay, the way I mentioned, you can use start with the simple past tense and then use past continuous and use all the irregular verbs which you see on your screen. That's the way. Start practicing using simple topics. What did you do yesterday? What did you do last weekend? So don't worry, let me also go ahead at last and recap how to do it. So in order to describe past incident, you have to use the simple past tense and you have to use the past continuous tense, right? And you have to also be well versed with some irregular verbs which I have already discussed, and try to memorize them and try to use the irregular verbs I have given. So at last, let me also show you how you can practice. Let me show you some techniques to practice so that you can confidently speak about past incidents, right? So in order to practice, you have to regularly try and rehearse. Okay, so let me give you some topics. Apart from speaking about what did you do yesterday, you can talk about some other topics like did you do last weekend. Okay, so after gaining confidence, talk about what did you do last weekend. Or after that, you can take up a bit more complicated topic like what did you do last summer vacation, right? And then if you are feeling very confident, you can try and narrate short stories or anecdotes, which I have already discussed in the previous part. So if you haven't checked that video, please check it. The link is given in the description. And apart from that, you can also select pictures and narrate stories using the picture. You can make stories and you can try and narrate some short stories using pictures, or you can also use anecdote. That would be better initially. If you have missed the video on anecdotes, it's given in the description. You can check that link, right? So that's in a nutshell. I hope it's clear how you can talk about past incidents without committing mistake and fluently and confidently, right? So please practice and use all the latest techniques I have mentioned, right? Try to use the topics I have given, try to narrate anecdotes, and don't worry, I'll come up with more topics and I'll also show you how we can use complicated images and talk about past incidents, or you can narrate stories. So I'm going to obviously come up with that video also in a short while. So I hope you found this video extremely helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to WisdomZone yet, please do not wait and subscribe to WisdomZone and hit the bell icon so that you can turn on the notification and you can get further notification of this type of informative videos. So stay tuned for further informative videos.